We'll call our meeting to order. First item is invocation by Father Dan Balmer of St. Germain's Catholic Church. After that, Terry will lead us in a pledge.
Good and gracious God, we give you thanks and praise for the blessings you shower upon us. Especially say thank you for the showers we got the other day. Please bless us more rain, more moisture here in the future. We ask your blessings of healing for all those who have had the flu. It's going around in our air in our state. Bless all those, heal all those who have it, and protect those of us who haven't had it. Protect us from the flu. Protect our first responders. Protect those who protect us. We ask blessings upon all the families of our town, especially those families going through type of difficulties. We ask your blessing upon our town council. Get the abundance of wisdom as they make decisions that affect our town now and in the future. We ask all this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Balmer, and thank you, Teresa. Okay, we'll move on then to a roll call. Diane?
Mayor Skoog.
Present.
Councilmember Nye is absent this evening. Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Grossman.
I'm here.
Councilmember Mallory is also absent this evening. Councilmember Rooney.
Here.
And Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, next is proclamation, National Mentoring Month. I don't know if somebody here to receive it. Good. We'll see out here at the microphone.
Okay.
National Mentoring Month, January 2018. Whereas January is National Mentoring Month, celebrating the benefits of youth mentoring across the country. And whereas every day in communities across the country, caring adults volunteer their time with mentoring programs to create consistent and supportive relationships to young people. At its most basic level, mentoring is successful in real life because it guarantees that young people have an adult to turn to and that they have a guiding hand to help them in dealing with day-to-day challenges. At a more complex level, there is a powerful mentoring effect that ultimately makes our communities stronger. And whereas quality mentoring programs are proven to build relationships that help improve school attendance and academic achievement, promote responsible decision-making, and provide skills to better navigate relationships at school, socially, and at home. A report by Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership, found that young adults who were at risk for not completing high school but who had a mentor were 55% more likely to be enrolled in college than those who did not have a mentor. Excuse me. 81% more were likely to report participating regularly in sports or extracurricular activities. More than twice as likely to say they held a leadership position in a club or a sports team. 78% were more likely to volunteer regularly in their communities. Whereas in a community, we must commit to not leaving those powerful relationships to chance. Mentor's report found that 1 in 3 young people will grow up without a mentor. Through cross-sector collaboration, we can close the mentoring gap. And whereas the National Mentoring Month Public Awareness Campaign, recognized by presidential proclamation and congressional resolution, is led by Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. National Mentoring Month not only recognizes the benefit of mentoring, but also acknowledges those who give generously of themselves by mentoring youth as teachers, as coaches, as tutors, and as volunteers. Now, therefore, I, Harvey C. Skoog, Mayor of the town of Prescott Valley, Arizona, do hereby declare January of 2018 as National Mentoring Month to celebrate the benefits of mentoring and the impact it has on our young folks.
Thank you, Diane. Councilmember Whiting has introduced many students of the month. Any comments?
Yes, I think it is fitting because we recognize a student every month, and I don't think they would be before us without the fact that they're mentored. They have a lot of support in their school, at home, even with their coaches and so in faculty. So I think it's a very important way. I think this is a great tool to create some awareness and to increase awareness about the importance of that. I see it every day in our town. You know, I think the police department, I don't know where they would be without mentoring officers, mentoring other officers and other departments in the town of Prescott Valley. So we appreciate you bringing this important topic to us tonight, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. Justin, you want to make some comments and introduce this very dignified gentleman, stately gentleman? Great. You're up.
Not sure if I can do him justice, but I'll try. Does this thing go tall? All right, there we go. It's okay. So my name is Justin Corbell. I'm the project manager for National Mentoring Month and recruitment specialist at Big Brothers Big Sisters. And the man to my left, Dan, is the superintendent of Humboldt Unified School District. He is a advocate for our children in our community. He is just a great, great man, and he has thoroughly helped out Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters and all these kids in our area that thoroughly need mentors. So he's been a really great advocate for that. Now, for me personally, I've been a big brother for 4.5 years now. I've had 2 little brothers. My current little is 16, and he lives in Prescott Valley, so God help me, 16. He's a great kid, though. And he's, I think people sometimes, overestimate the commitment they're making, and it is a commitment to be a big. But it's also, not only are you impacting a kid's life, but you're impacting your own. And I've seen that firsthand. I've seen the impact that it can have on these kids, and I've seen it. And I want to share this with people. And this Youth Mentoring Month, this National Mentoring Month, it's really, this is a proclamation to say, hey, there's kids here that are needing mentors, and there's a great opportunity here, and I would challenge you to at least look into it. Come talk to me. I'd love to talk to you more about this amazing opportunity. And Dan, you want to say something?
Height here. As the superintendent of the Humboldt Unified School District and a member of the board of directors for Yavapai Big Brothers Big Sisters, I've seen firsthand the impacts that positive role models and mentorship can play in young people's lives and the impact that it has on our community. A mentor not only influences a child, but it influences that child's family, that child's classroom, that child's school, and that child's community as a whole. So I thank Mayor Skoog for the proclamation. I thank the Town Council for the proclamation. I think this is very important. This is a very important part of our community, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm proud to be a part of a community that honors this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, Mike? Thank you, and keep up the good work. You're doing a super job. Great district. Justin, that was nice to see you. Keep up. Thank you so much. Okay, next item is Chamber of Commerce. Is anyone here for it? Oh, Brady, you're up. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brady. I'm from the Chamber of Commerce for beautiful Prescott Valley. As we know, we're rapidly growing. We love it at the Chamber of Commerce. Hopefully you love it too. I have the opportunity to present one of our newest chamber members and business members in the community. This is Diana Siegfried from Home Slice Pizza, here to say a few words.
Thank you for letting us have an opportunity to speak with the town. We appreciate everybody here and all that the chamber does and everybody here on the council. We have recently purchased Mama's Pizza, Ria, and have changed it to Home Slice Pizza. Our families have been here in the Prescott Valley location and have resided here for many years. My husband graduated high school here at Bradshaw Mountain, and my kids now go there. Also, my two daughters graduated from AAEC, and so we're very family-oriented, and we have taken this opportunity to really invest back into Prescott Valley. This community means a lot to us, and we enjoy living here and have enjoyed this business opportunity. We have had other businesses in the area, and we have chosen to take on this challenge of opening up a restaurant. So very new to us, but very exciting. My husband was Prescott Valley PD for many years. Unfortunately, had to retire in 2008 due to a job-related injury. And now we are taking on something new that kind of gives him an out. Being retired police has its challenges. You know, he wants to get out in the community and do things, but not in that capacity anymore. So this has allowed us a chance to meet people and to be here and to invest, which we've thoroughly enjoyed. We also partnered with another Prescott Valley family. The name is Mandy and Ryan Pilgrim, and they have joined up with us and linked arms with us so that we can begin this challenge together of growing Prescott Valley. And we do a lot in our community. We really want to give back, link up with other organizations in our community to help fundraise, to help get their name out there. We're linking up with schools and Little League and all of even the high school volleyball team, things of that nature, to help some of these small organizations and non-charity, non-profit groups kind of raise money for their organizations. So we are enjoying doing that and giving back to our community. And thank you so much for the time, and I hope you guys come and enjoy our pizza. Try it out. We are over by Harkins Theater, so right in that little professional plaza. I've got my phone number right over here. It's 515-5000. So come and enjoy. We do not deliver as of yet. It's something that we're working on, but we will be delivering in a small radius shortly. Also working on the liquor license at this time. We're at least another 100 days away from that. So we are attempting getting that right now. So thank you guys for taking the time and listening. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that. And I can assure you, it's super pizza. This lady did a great job, so go to her place and do it. Okay, next one is 1/4 cent sales tax renewal. Assistant Yavapai County Administrator Jack Fields. And of course, Jack Smith, supervisor, is here. And so is his assistant.
Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much. My name is Jack Fields. I'm the Assistant County Administrator.
Lift it up just a little.
You want it up a little?
There, that's better.
I had to put it down. He was talking about it. Does it go higher? I guess I can say yes, it goes a little bit higher. Again, my name is Jack Fields. I'm Assistant County Administrator. I'm also a resident of Prescott Valley. I've been here in Prescott Valley for 2 years, and I thoroughly enjoy living here. So thank you very much for having a great city a great town. My other shout out is to the superintendent of Humboldt School District. My son is a teacher at Humboldt Elementary. Go Pandas! So those are my two shout outs. What we're here today to talk about, Supervisor Smith and myself, is an election that's coming up. It's probably going to be on May 15th, and I'll say probably because we're in the middle of switching the election date. The election was originally scheduled by the Board of Supervisors for March 13th. We had a couple of reasons for changing that date. The one that I really like is that it gives us more opportunity to come to meetings like this and explain to people what the election is all about. The one I don't like so much is you actually have to give 2 notices of election. One of them had to be done in approximately November, and through a glitch of county administration, that's me, we didn't actually do that. So we're having to reset the date. So the new date for that election will be May 15th. And a press release went out today kind of explaining a little bit about that. So on the PowerPoint above the council that you can see, this is about the continued funding for the jail district. I've just got a very short PowerPoint presentation, then I'll turn it over to Jack Smith. As your town attorney will tell you, as a member of the staff of the county, I can give you facts. I will not get into whether anyone should vote for it or not, and the town attorney can tell you why if you'd like to hear that. So let's go forward on what the facts are. If that works.
Is it on?
Do I have to turn it on? There we go. I had to turn it on. So what we're talking about is the jail district, the Yavapai County Jail District. The jail district is a special taxing district. I'm sure all of you know, on the council know what a special taxing district is. A special taxing district, for those of you that don't know, is a creation of the legislature that, in this case, allows a county to find another funding source to pay for a specific thing, in this case, the jail. And back in 1999, that issue was put before the voters of Yavapai County, and the voters agreed that finding another source of revenue to fund law enforcement, particularly the jail, was a good idea. They passed that measure by 70%. So in 2000, a tax was imposed by the Board of Supervisors pursuant to that vote of 1/4 of 1 cent. And it's designed to sunset after 20 years. If you do the math, that comes up to 2020, which is now why that issue is being brought before the voters again. The vote, because we have a jail district, it relieves the towns in the county and cities in the county of having to pay for booking of inmates at the jail or for inmate stay for misdemeanors at the jail. So that is something that's on the county right now. That's the way it's been for 20 years. If the jail district goes away, those costs would again go back to the cities and towns of the county. So that's an issue that's out there. I'm just saying that's a fact. So how much money is actually generated by this tax? And you can see in the pie graph on the PowerPoint, it's about almost half of the jail operations comes from the 1/4 cent sales tax that is generated by the jail district, by this particular tax. Right now, it's close to $9 million a year. As you can well imagine, if that funding source goes away, that's a pretty big hole to plug in the county's budget, and it would probably need to be plugged by general fund money. How much does a 1/4 cent mean to people? Now, this original slide, you can see the cup up there says, I think it says fancy coffee. We originally had a logo of a coffee cup that had something that shall remain Starbucks, but we're a little concerned because, again, of the attorneys, and I always like to poke fun at attorneys because I am one, that we're a little concerned with the liability, so we changed it to fancy coffee. But if you spend $4 in this county, 1 penny goes to the jail district. That's the impact it actually has on sales. And again, there's enough sales out there that it generates approximately $9 million a year. Of that, and the county had a study commissioned last year by Arizona State University. Study was done by Arizona State University. Of the money that's generated, 17% comes from visitors to this county, people who are not residents of this county. And if we have to switch to general fund money, 100% of the cost of the jail would then be borne by people who live in this county. Now, again, I'm not advocating one way or the other. This is a factual presentation. So where does the funding go? We've kind of explained a little bit about where it comes from. The funding goes primarily to pay for detention officers and other support personnel. The sheriff will tell you they have a fully functioning health department within the jail because we have to take care of the people who are incarcerated there. I think Supervisor Smith will get into that a little bit about some of the things that the sheriff has done to make sure that the jail is a better place and to reduce the population of the jail. And speaking of that, here's this next slide. We can talk about that. The reason we like to talk about reducing the population, about 4 years ago, there was a ballot measure to increase this particular tax. That is not what's happening here. The idea here is to maintain what we currently have, not to increase. When that measure 4 years ago failed, the sheriff and the board of supervisors looked at the situation and said, we need to reduce jail population numbers so we can put out farther building a new jail when we would need to do that. Again, this election is not about increasing taxes or about a new jail. This is about maintaining current jail funding. So what has the sheriff and the board done to help reduce and eliminate reduce the population of the jail? Some of the things they've done, and probably the most beneficial thing, is to try to reduce the number of people with mental disorders that are going into the jail. That is a substantial number of the people who go in there, people who go off their medication or have some other kinds of mental health issues. They end up doing something that is technically a crime, and because a few years ago there was really no other place to take them, they were taken to the jail, and they were housed there when they really should have been taken somewhere else. They should have been treated for the mental disorder rather than incarcerated. So particularly Deputy Sheriff Dave Rhodes has been instrumental in adopting and pushing some programs that help divert people from going to the jail if what they really need is mental health treatment. I'm sure that you know of the Crisis Stabilization Unit that was opened by West Yavapai Guidance Clinic last year. That has been enormously successful in diverting people from the jail. We've also opened, a company called Teros has opened a mobile crisis unit, and that has also been successful in diverting people from jail. Other things that have been done include early disposition court to try to get people to plea and to take a plea and to get out of court and out of the system and either on probation or down to the Department of Corrections and out of our jail as soon as possible. There are also pretrial release programs. People are taken legitimately to the jail, and how can we, if they're not a danger to the community and they will appear for court, how can we get them out of the jail and not waiting for court? We have a lot of people waiting sometimes months for court to follow up on $500 bond. They just can't afford $500 bond. So there are programs that are being implemented and have been implemented to try to get those people out of jail as well. Jail is a very costly endeavor. If we believe that they're going to show up for their court dates and they're not a danger to the community, why are we housing them in the jail? And that's a very good question that we're attempting to answer. Some of the other programs are on the screen as well. Coordinating release of people with mental health to providers, mental health providers, so they don't come back to the jail in a very short time period to try to reduce recidivism. A dedicated behavioral health unit in the jail to try to treat people, again, getting them out of the jail as fast as possible. Implementation of a veterans court to treat the special needs of veterans that are in our community, both the older veterans in Vietnam and earlier, and the newer ones as well. They have a unique set of problems that we're trying to address as well. And finally, the 287G program, that's to identify within the jail, not on the street, but within the jail, to identify people who are illegal immigrants, to contact the federal authorities to see if they are appropriate for detention and perhaps deportation. Again, the sheriff is not aggressive with that program. We're just trying to follow the law on it and identify those people and inform the federal authorities so that they can make an informed decision. Other ways to reduce money is to privatize jail services. That was done several years ago. To use copay for inmates if they can afford it. They can pay for meal and other kinds of things, Snicker bars, those kinds of things. And to use non-certified civilian staff to perform tasks that were previously performed by officers who were more costly and certified detention officers. So this slide is basically what the election is about. The election on May 15th is to extend the current existing tax, not to increase, not to build a jail, but just to extend what we've got so we can continue to fund the jail programs as it stands right now. Here's a calendar of events. As you can see, April 16th is the last day to vote. April 15th is the day publicity pamphlets will go out. The week of April 23rd is when ballots will be mailed, and I'll pause right there. This is an all-mail election. Now, the last few times I've said that, people look at me and say, does that mean women can't vote? And I'm saying, no, it's a mail-in election. Thank you very much. You will receive a ballot in the mail, and you can either mail it back in before May 15th. You really need to put it in the mail before May 7th. Or you can drop it off at convenient Dropbox locations, one of which is in this complex. And then finally, every ballot is due by 7 p.m. on May 15th. This is the only item that will be on that ballot. This is the only item that will be on that ballot. Just to recap a little bit, important points. This extends the current quarter cent. It is not a tax increase. Taxes will not go up as a result of this vote. And the board believes it is necessary in order to maintain the integrity and safety of the jail. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Supervisor Smith for a few comments, and then both of us will be able to answer any questions the board or the audience may have.
Welcome, Jack.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Supervisor Jack Smith, the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors. I will be brief. I know that listening about the jail tax or any type of tax is kind of like watching grass grow, quite honestly, and I will not put you through that. Bottom line, as the elected official for District 5, which represents over 70% of Prescott Valley, for the county, I have to recommend that this ballot measure that everybody vote yes on. And the reason I say that is because there's two things you want to look at anytime you're looking at a ballot measure, especially when it comes to revenue. Number one, is it going to fund what we, the voter, want it to fund? This cannot be swept, no backdoor taxes, nothing. It has to be used for jail operations. Number two, will it sunset again? Sunset means will it end again? Yes, it will end again so that if things change, priorities change, culture changes, the voters will have an opportunity to again either vote this in or extinguish it at that time. So those are the two main points. Again, I recommend fully vesting our interest into this. 70% of the voters last time when we established this district said, yes, it's a good idea. I think we can get a little bit more than that because this makes sense. This is not political. There's no elections going on right now, which is great, so you can just hear the facts of what's going on. And it is mundane. It does get very tiring listening to this over and over, what the jail has done. The Sheriff's Office has done an amazing job at trying to keep inmates out through early disposition, through the mental awareness, through all these projects, okay? Bottom line, what the voters want to know is what I just told you, and should I vote for it? And yes, you should. So with that, I believe the Chief has a couple of comments, and then I'm available for questions and answers. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. More importantly, the citizens of Prescott Valley, because I want to talk about not whether or not you should vote for this. So relax, Ivan. I learned my lesson, trust me. But what I do want to talk to you and the citizens of Prescott Valley about is what the impact to us would be if this tax were not to be renewed. And so last year, July 1st of 16 to June 30th of 2017, we had just under 1,700 bookings. Now, I want to reiterate what has already been talked about with the diversion programs. We 100% participate in all of those programs. We do a lot of things such as cite in lieu of arrest. So in other words, we issue appearance tickets to people for like shoplifting and other what we would call small-scale misdemeanors and things like that. So we are doing everything we can to try to keep people from going into jail and being incarcerated. But knowing that, and if the tax were not there, we would have to pick up the cost of that. So in the fiscal year 16-17, with almost 1,700 bookings, it would have cost us $743,000. And that would have had to come out of the Prescott Valley General Fund or my police department budget. And so if that's the case, obviously, with the other news that we've heard recently about Sam's Club closing, these kinds of figures we would not be able to sustain, and that would result in probably a reduction in staffing and other resources. The other thing, another option would be to stop taking people to jail. And I would advocate against that because that would make our town less safe. So I just want the people to know what the facts are and that it would have a substantial cost to the town of Prescott Valley. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Questions? You got anyone have any questions? Any other comments? Jody?
Mayor, thank you. I just want to reiterate that I heard correctly. Supervisor, my understanding is that this funding can only be used for jail operations.
Correct.
And I also heard from Chief Gerald that if we do not pass this for our town in particular, it would cost us $743,000. That's correct?
And that's based off the numbers previous, so future numbers may be a little bit different.
Okay. And I also heard I need to mail back my vote by May 7th. Thank you.
Yes.
Good. Any other questions, comments? Anything else, Jack?
Just a last comment is this is very important, and again, it doesn't come down to politics. It comes down to numbers, dollars and cents. We're talking about a $9 million deficit to the county of Yavapai, okay, and its municipalities that are incorporated into that county. That's important. That's a lot of money. This is not to build anything. This is not, there's a lot of misclaimers going around there, so I want to reiterate that. This is not to build a new jail. This is not to raise your taxes. This is to continue the existing tax that you currently pay and have paid since 2000 or 2000. So, and I'm available to you. I will be speaking all throughout the town of Prescott Valley in District 5 for many, many days to come. So if anybody out there would like to call me directly, my cell phone number is 928-499-7713. And if anybody up here is writing that down, then I don't know why. But anyway, give me a call, seriously. And we'll talk about it. If you want to have a community meeting at your house or in the park, whatever it may be, we'll be there to explain it because we really do serve you. And this is the best town in Yavapai County. I don't care what anybody says. You guys do a great job. So thank you very much.
Keep it up, Jack.
Thank you.
Mr. Fields, any other comments?
Just thank you for giving us the opportunity to appear in front of you and inform you of this very important vote.
Good. Cynthia, no comments? Okay. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
But, Mr. Mayor and Council,
yeah, Larry?
Are you interested in having a resolution come back to you on this particular action at some time, perhaps closer to the election, if you are so inclined?
Comments? Rick?
I think it's something we should do sooner rather than later. And yes, I am, because the impact upon our town is too much, I believe, for us to not take action on this.
Marty?
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor in having a resolution. The financial significance of this is important, and we have to get the message out early that we are supporting it, because we know there are going to be a few naysayers out there. So,
and
Rick or Jody? Jody?
Yes.
Mike?
Oh, yes, indeed. I support it. I think all the points we brought up, especially the chief, it does impact Prescott Valley quite a bit, and I think this is an opportunity to look for a way to support that and it'll help, I think, our community as well as the county as well. So,
If memory serves me right, it seems to me we have to pay $85 a day for people we
It's a little more than that, actually.
fact,
I
more
think
than
it's
that.
about $100 a day.
100 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, Larry?
And just a question or a bit of clarification. Okay, my understanding is I'm paying this tax today, right?
You are.
Okay, and seeing that it's a sales tax, that means when somebody comes up from Phoenix and buys gasoline up here, they're helping us pay for the operations of our jail. Is that right?
Correct. And as the assistant administrator said, Jack Fields, was the fact that you have 17% of the folks that tourism dollars that come up here. Those add to that bottom line. So I don't know if I like a 17% discount personally when I get something from the store. So that really helps out in the long run as well.
Okay.
So, and I do appreciate the talk of the resolution, and I would put it to every council member, because it sounds like you feel very strongly about this, is get out and talk to your constituency. We have a very, very smart electorate in Yavapai County. They're not uninformed. Even through all the cloud of things that go around during election times, Yavapai County residents, they seem to get it. They understand the nuts and bolts of these things, and they understand the impact that it can have on public safety. Public safety. Think about that. An officer's, one of the tools in their toolbox is taken away from them to be able to take somebody to jail and get them off the street at least for 24 to 48 hours to see a judge for the crime that they've committed. That's an important tool to have in that toolbox.
Any other comments?
Just one other fact. We, as I mentioned in the presentation, we will be sending out a publicity pamphlet. You can individually, any individual in the county, council member or no, can have their views published in that publicity pamphlet. We have a for and against, so you can write for or you could write against. You need to get that letter, it's 300 words or less, to the clerk of the board, and you need to get it to the clerk of the board by March 1st to have it included in the publicity pamphlet. There is a $50 charge for that, but we will be happy to accept everything, and we'll publish all letters that are given to us.
Good, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I'd like to ask Jack, if I'm a new resident in Prescott Valley, okay, just moved here and just moved into a brand new house, and I'm really happy to be in Prescott Valley, but I want to exercise my democratic right. Where do I sign up so I make sure I get one of these mail-in ballots?
You need to register to vote, and you can do that at the county recorder's office. You can also go online to, I want to say DMV. I believe it is DMV. In fact, I know it's DMV. And they actually, I think it's all directed there right now. And DMV. I'm still in another state. MVD, Motor Vehicles Division for the state of Arizona, the place that gives you your driver's licenses and registers your cars. They actually, it's called what? ServiceArizona.com is where you can register to vote. I would suggest you do that. And again, to register to vote in this election, you need to register by April 16th. If you register by April 16th, you will get a ballot.
And that, once again, this is just to extend what I'm paying now. It's not new.
Just to extend what you are paying now. That's correct, Mr. Tarkowski.
Can't be said enough.
No new taxes, right?
No new taxes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, we move on then to next item, number 7, Certificate of Appreciation to Claudia Martinez for 5 years of service. Can we meet Claudia up here?
I would also like to add that if that tax isn't passed, the county, we receive $342,000 a year from the county for library services. So,
Yeah.
did you hear me?
No.
Okay. As I said, if we do not, if the tax does not pass, we receive $342,000 from the county for library services. So that would cut our budget significantly, which would have to go back onto the town. So the library has a vested concern in that too.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, Diane, do you have any comments?
Yes, Mayor, we do. Claudia Martinez. Well, Claudia, you're one of the first people that Casey hired in her department 5 years ago. And she says that she remembers looking at your application and getting very excited, as she was the only one with library experience. She also came with an amazing letter of recommendation from her prior library supervisor that said we should snap her up immediately, as Claudia is intelligent and extremely amiable. Snap her up, Casey did. Claudia is probably one of the best at Reader's Advisory we have on staff. She knows a little about everything, staying on top of popular fiction and what our patrons like. When a patron wants to read books that are like Game of Thrones, Longmire, romance, or crime fiction, she knows the reader likes and matches them up with the appropriate book. It never ceases to amaze me how spot on she is with her recommendations. Claudia is also the go-to person for staff, as she literally knows everything. If she doesn't know the answer, she knows who does. She wears many hats and has her hands in just about every department. She is one of the few on staff that works all public services points, the circulation desk, the help desk, the drive-up window, and the reference desk. She also catalogs materials, making them shelf-ready to check out. She has many numerous changes that she's made in procedures that have improved efficiency, including relabeling large series for easy shelving, setting up a step-by-step cataloging manual, adding covers to new magazines, and correcting hundreds of inaccurate call numbers. All this work is done on a part-time basis. Claudia made such an impact in her performance that she was reclassified to library assistant in 2014. Claudia has such a passion and dedication to libraries and a willingness to do anything. She assists patrons with downloading ebooks on their devices, participates on the library events committee, will go out of her way to help anyone in need, and really gets what libraries are about. One of her favorite things about her is her humor. She has the most wicked and creative sense of humor ever. It can come from out of nowhere and make us all roar with laughter. Claudia fits very well in library land, and we wouldn't know what we would do without her. Congratulations, Claudia.
Did you write that, Casey, or did Ted write that? You wrote it.
Okay. Council member, any comments?
Well, I think we're honored to be here to congratulate you. And 5 years seems like a long time to us. You're just getting started. And we always are proud that we have long-term employees, even though 5 years may not be that long. So we look forward to many more years, and it sounds exhausting what you do. I'm sure it's exciting, but congratulations for 5 years, and we hope you continue to serve our community because we want you to be here. Congratulations.
Casey, comment?
I think Diane covered pretty much everything, but really Claudia is a valuable part of our staff, and I don't know seriously what we would do without you. You're amazing, and thank you, Claudia.
Council have any comments?
Mayor, I would. I want to thank amazing Claudia. Because I can see it on Casey's face, and I know with your compadres over here, they're showing it too. Thank you for being part of our fabulous team here, Claudia.
Hi, Claudia. Congratulations on 5 years of service. When Diane was reading that note, I think a lot of us have no clue as to what these staff of the library do on a daily basis. They figure they just sit there, and pass out the books to you and, go there. They don't realize the work that goes into it and the amount of responsibility that you take for it. So it's really nice to hear how much faith and trust and dependency that the library staff has on your services to us. And as Michael said, 5 years, it's a good start. So congratulations. We look forward to more of these, and thank you.
Rick?
I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for being here, the number of years that you have. We look forward to many more. And, you know, it's without employees like you that just keep coming to work every day and enjoying themselves, and you can stand here with a smile on your face. Without employees like you, we couldn't function. And we thank you very much for that.
Well, what we'd like to do is commemorate this evening with a certificate. And I guess you've picked up a new nickname, Wicked Claudia. There you go. So I'll read what the certificate of appreciation says. It's presented to Claudia Martinez in appreciation for 5 years of dedicated service to the town of Prescott Valley from December 18, 2012 through December 18, 2017. So congratulations. We do have a 5-year pin to commemorate your 5 years of service, so wear that proudly. And it's very shiny, so I'd like to have one on Joe.
And 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes. My husband was in the service for a number of years, and I worked in a number of different libraries, but never for more than 2 or 3 years at a time. So 5 years for me is a landmark too. It's been a great opportunity. I appreciate Casey taking a risk on someone who was maybe a little different. During our interview, I think we kind of caught on to each other, and it's a great opportunity to work in a library that is forward-thinking and that is looking at really serving the community, not just now, not just with the popular reading materials, but really in the future. Helping people get jobs, really serving the whole community.
I bet Casey and Ted have been a real challenge. We want to congratulate.
Speaking of challenge, okay, so Wicked and Reader's Advisory, are you ready for this one? I just finished reading a book entitled Imbeciles. What should I read next?
Anyway, congratulations, Claudia, and keep up the good work. Another, 20 years? You can handle it at 80. Keep up the good work. Casey, good job. Appreciate it. Okay. Next, comments, communications. Anyone have a Rick?
I do have one thing. I know that for many people in the room and in our audience, for a long time we've believed that the day would never come, but 1 week from today, Chick-fil-A will be opening their doors in Prescott Valley. So,
Ooh, parade.
Mayor, I have a comment in regards to one of our 40th anniversary celebrations. We have multiple events scheduled across the year of 2018 because Prescott Valley will turn 40 years old in 2018. We were incorporated in 1978. And just recently we had the Polar Bear Splash out in Mountain Valley. It was awesome. I saw several faces here, and you know, we have a fabulous team. We were looking for 40 bears to jump in that cold water. Now, I noticed that Larry was there, but he didn't jump in the pool this time.
So right.
However, we broke records. Not only 40, we had 65 polar bears out in the pool this year, and it was fabulous. So, again, another great event. Looking forward to more events for the 40th anniversary.
Good, thank you, Judy.
Brady, who we saw earlier, was one of them that jumped in, so yeah.
Good, any other? Okay, if there's no other, we'll move on to consent agenda. This time we'll have Mike read it.
We're on number 9, consent agenda. All matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the Town Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately for discussion and possible action. So I'll go ahead and read the consent items. Number A, approving the December 14th work study and December 21st, 2017 council minutes. Recommending the approval, B, of an interim permit and person transfer of Series 6 bar liquor license number 061-30080 for Prescott Valley Event Center, Kelly Christina Cabral, agent. Number C, approving resolution number 2029, adopting the 10 Arizona State Library Archives and Public Records retention schedules, remove retention schedule GS 1043, Clarion Code of Conduct records as needed, and approve the revised records retention policy 5-03. D, approving destruction of all listed electronic records from the Laserfish Records Management System, awarding the library number E dash Cafe Coffee Bar concessionaire contract to Peavine Coffee House. F, approving the memorandum of understanding with Prescott Indian Tribe, Yavapai Prescott Indian Tribe. G, approving the purchase of SCADA equipment from Dell in the amount of $20,949.01 for the wastewater treatment plant. H, approving accounts payable from December 12th, 2017 to January 2nd, 2018.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody want to pull an item, or would you like to approve it as a whole? Consent agenda.
If no one wants to pull anything, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to approve all items on the consent agenda by electronic vote.
I'll second, Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, we move on to number 10. 10A, consideration of authorizing the mayor to sign resolution number 2030 approving FDP 17-014 and to sign any agreement under Proposition 207 for the Granville RV and boat storage facility.
Mayor, Council, you're looking at a final development plan for a 2-acre parcel which is separated from the body of the Granville subdivision by a wash corridor that goes through. It's immediately adjacent to our tank farm and the photovoltaic system located on that tank farm. This was identified in the approved master development plan for Granville as a RV and boat storage facility, and on that basis came to the Planning and Zoning Commission as a preliminary development plan last month, illustrating 56, I believe, is the number units, storage areas on 2 acres. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed it, found it to be consistent with previous approvals, and on that basis recommended approval, or actually approved the preliminary development plan. On the basis that it meets town standards, is consistent with the zoning classification for this area of Granville as an accessory to Granville, because it's not something that is a commercial entity. Rather, you have to live within Granville to utilize it. It'll be managed by the Homeowners Association. We've received no opposition to the request, and on that basis, we recommend approval. I would respond, of course, to any questions you may have.
Questions, anyone? I think we understand it. Anyone care to make a motion or a commotion or a demotion or a promotion or an emotion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion to authorize the mayor in his absence, the vice mayor, to sign Resolution 2030 approving FDP 17-014 and to sign any agreement under Proposition 207 for the Granville RV and boat storage facility.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, with a motion and a second, would you set the vote, Diane?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. We move on to B, consideration of approving resolution number 2031, adopting and approving a final development plan, FDP 18001, for Pronghorn Branch Unit number 28, Unit 18.
Mayor, Council, if you're sensing a bit of deja vu, 2 weeks ago you approved this subdivision plat final development plan for the same unit. What's different in this consideration is it's by a different owner of record. So it's been transferred from the previous person who has brought the application to now Dorn Homes. With that minor difference, it's exact same. We would recommend approval.
Questions, anyone? Comments? Motions, demotions, commotions?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor, in his absence the vice mayor, to sign resolution number 2031, adopting and approving a renamed final development plan FDP 18-001 for Pronghorn Ranch Unit 18 by electronic vote.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, would you set the vote, Dan?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, move on to number C. Consideration of awarding a construction contract to the lowest responsive bidder, Earth Resources Corporation, in an amount up to $589,192, and approving the amendment to the professional service agreement with Lion Engineering, and approving the amendment to town engineer agreement with Dave and Associates for the Viewpoint Drive Storm Water Channelization Improvement Phase 3, CIP number S168.5C. Norm, you are up.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor, Council. This is for the Viewpoint Channelization Phase 3. We talked about it, this particular project in quite length at the work study last week. Just like to hit a couple of highlights just to rehash for the public watching, but this is the Phase 3. So what's important to show, this is a stormwater management project. We used Yavapai County flood control dollars, so stormwater management doesn't really hit our radar screen until we actually have a significant storm. So after about 120 days of dryness, it doesn't really come to the forefront. But it will rain again, and we will have stormwater management challenges. This particular corridor, Council may recall here a few years ago, we actually had some challenges with actually some people not being able to get home along this corridor. So it's nice to actually put flood control dollars to work. This Phase 3, this next slide shows what we've shown for many years on how this whole corridor is being planned for stormwater management improvements. So Phase 3, as you see slated there for the funding of $800,000 between construction and design, takes off where Phases 1 and 2 have been completed in prior budget years. Of course, what I always like to show is this particular slide that shows Phases 1 and 2 complete. So this Phase 3 takes off from where we left out, put some pipes in at Custer Circle, and almost takes the improvements up to the Spouse Drive intersection. So significant stormwater management corridor, and it's nice to see these improvements and actually control that stormwater in a particular channel. So you're looking at Phases 1 and 2. And as we talked about, very similar to Phase 2, the dirt from this particular channel, as you see excavated, goes to the future Viewpoint Connector project. So what you actually do is when you can find a close proximity to the site, if you go back to this particular, the dirt from that channel went up to the, already to the Viewpoint channel. We'll continue that particular endeavor and get that soil to the future Viewpoint channel. What that does do is save a significant amount of money. Is we can take dirt from here, use it on the future roadway, and that is actually a good dirt balance, as we call it in the engineering world, but it's a good use of funding and also getting our public works improvements to the best economic status we can. So with that, great bids. Had 6 bidders from contractors. Earth Resource, a local contracting company, did the Phase 2 last year. We have a real confidence in their bid and their abilities to complete this particular project on time and on budget. And as we talked about last week, we actually awarded 2 engineers for this particular improvement because each engineer had a different design. So Line Engineering will do the construction period services and management of the channel, and the dirt placement to make sure we build Viewpoint adequately to good design standard will be Dave and Associates, who did the design for the Viewpoint Connector. With that, I'd be happy to answer questions you may have.
Questions, anyone? I know you gave us a good detail on the work study. No questions? Jody?
If there's no questions, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
All right. I'll make a motion to award construction contract to the lowest responsive bidder, Earth Resources Corporation, in an amount of up to $589,192, and improving the amendment to the professional services agreement with Lion Engineering, and approving the amendment to the town engineer agreement with Dave and Associates for the Viewpoint Drive Stormwater Channelization Improvements Phase 3 CIP number S168.5C.
Second, anyone?
Mr. Mayor, I'll be more than happy to second the motion.
We had a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's unanimously approved, Mayor.
Thank you. Norm, go to
Thank you,
work.
Mayor. We'll get started on
Thank
construction.
you. Okay, we're going to number D. Consideration of approving contract change orders number 1, 2, and 3, CCO number 1, 2, 3, with CLM Earth Movers and LLC in the amount of $44,897, affiliated with Victorian SH Waterline Project CIP number W391. Neil, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We did talk about this last week, but as you'll recall, my slideshow didn't work, or it worked, but the wires down there didn't work. So I'm going to run through this real quick. The gist of this, though, is that we are doing a project closeout change order, which involves mainly two different items, accounting for the bulk of the $44,000 and change for the change order. Those being the bore that we weren't able to complete at Baker Street, and we had to go back and open cut that and replace the surface improvements. And then the Rose Creek crossing, where there was a concrete low water crossing that we ended up tearing it out, putting in temporary rock during all the storms events that we had, and then replacing that with a concrete low water crossing, a new one. As we discussed last week, the original bid amount for this contract with CLM Earth Movers was about $433,000. You see the next lowest bidder was at $588,000. It included the installation of the water line along Highway 69 there, and then jumping down into the county along Rose Creek to get down to the Diamond Valley area. This change order is for about $45,000, which is approximately 10% of the overall contract. So I just wanted to show you some of the pictures of what we encountered with the issues related to the low water crossing in Rose Creek. And here's a couple of examples of that flooding that occurred. And as you might recall, back during July, there were a number of heavy storms that really hit this area hard. And as you can see, this area, this is where the cars would drive across. They obviously can't drive across it. Even when the water's not moving very rapidly, they're just going to sink in the mud. And so there were, I believe, 3 or 4 different times we had to go back in and replace with temporary rock to improve that crossing while we were continuing the construction work, and until we could get that done and then come back and put the concrete back in. As part of this, you see that blue line going up your screen. That's actually a water service to a home that is temporarily hung up in the trees to get it up out of the water to continue serving those homes. And that's actually not our water service line. That's the Diamond Valley Water Company's water line. So there were some difficulties in that area. These are a couple different shots of the rock that we put across the creek crossing right there, and we even had some pipe in the ground to keep the nuisance water from flowing over the top as long as it wasn't too big of a rainstorm. But this did get washed out at several different times. This is the final low water crossing after it was replaced with you'll see the concrete slab there and some pretty good sized riprap to keep the soil from eroding after when the water comes across there. Then the other large item on this project was the entrance at Baker Street. The red shaded area shows where the water line was crossing, and as I said, we originally attempted to bore that so that we would not have to mess up the surface improvements right there at that entrance. But we encountered some very large rock. The contractor broke a bore bit, and they had to pull off, and ultimately our contractor had to go in and do an open cut excavation. There's some of their bore equipment and the shoring for the equipment before when they were starting the bore on that. And this, obviously we had to tear it up, go back in and patch the surface, replace all the rock landscaping that they had there, and go back in and repave that area. So with the 3 change orders, one of them was for 4 days of weather delay. The other 2 were for the Baker Street and the low water crossing, and so we're looking at close to $45,000 for the change order. And so I'd take any questions that you might have.
Questions, anyone? No? Motions, demotions, commotions, promotions? Go ahead.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve contract change orders number 1, 2, and 3, CCO number 1, 2, 3 with CLM Earth Movers LLC in an amount of $44,897 affiliated with the Victorian Estates Waterline Project CIP number W391.
I'll second.
Second, we got a motion and a second. Will you set the vote?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Thank you. And if I'm not mistaken, we've had this contractor do work for us before, and they've been real good, haven't they?
We have, yes.
Good price, good service, good job. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to E, consideration of approving the amendment for the autoscope services with CH2M Hill /OMI in the amount of $113,929 for combined water and wastewater capital project fiscal year 17 and 18. Neil?
Yes, so we actually talked about this one last week, and I did do a slide presentation, and I was thinking I probably wouldn't run through it this time unless you wanted to actually see it again. But there are a number of projects that we've put together as an out-of-scope item under the CH2M Hill contract to have them do miscellaneous things around the wastewater treatment plant that are not really true maintenance. They're more like newer type equipment installs and things like that, and then a couple of them in the water system as well. And so the total price on that is for them is $113,929. So I guess unless you'd like to see the presentation again or have any other additional questions,
Oh, we've been through it once. Anybody want to see it again?
I don't necessarily want to see the presentation, but I think it might be important to list the different items, because there are people watching that might be interested in at least, we don't have to go to a lot of detail, but if we can.
Actually, so I don't have a summary list. Oh, yeah, I do. There it is. Okay. So the $113,000 cost covers 4 items in our wastewater enterprise fund and 3 in the water enterprise fund. So the 4 on the wastewater side, we're going to put in a pond cover over the top of the effluent storage pond. That's about $10,000. We're installing some electrical disconnect switches on the reuse pumps, and the cost of that is about $3,000. We purchased some brand new dissolved oxygen probes, which is part of the control system for our wastewater treatment plant, and CH2M Hill is going to install those, and so the cost of that is right around $900. And the big one on the wastewater side is the SCADA server upgrades. As part of your consent agenda tonight, you approved about $20,000 purchase for new SCADA server, which are basically high-end computers. We're buying 2 of them for backup redundancy. Those 2 computers alone, they run about $6,000 a piece, and so that was a lot of the $20,000 cost. But now to go back and do the installation of those, the upgrading of the software, and making it all sync in with the software and how ours is programmed. The cost of that is about $26,000. On the water side, we are installing some additional emergency chlorine shutoff valves, and in fact, as part of that, they will be purchasing the chlorine shutoff valve. Now, these valves are specialty valves, and what they do is in the event of a chlorine leak at one of our well sites, the chlorine detectors detect the chlorine leak. These valves automatically shut down the cylinders. They run about $10,000 a piece just to buy those valves, and we're getting 3 of those. and doing the installation and programming into our controls. That cost is right at $44,000. We are installing dual chlorine scales at one of the well sites, and that for the electrical changes and the installation on the cost on that is $5,600. And finally, we are doing some renovation and repair at the office building where the CH2M Hill has their offices down on Long Mesa. And so we're replacing the roof, which we haven't done before, and so that and the siding has holes in it and needs to be repaired and replaced and painted. And so the cost of the roofing and the siding and the painting is about $26,000. So those are the costs that make up the approximately $114,000 out of scope services contract that we would like to approve.
Any other questions, comments, suggestions, motions? Mike?
Well, I just wanted to confirm, too, these are all items that we've had in our budget, and we're targeting now through our provider to get some of these done. So.
Yes, these are all budgeted items.
Right.
Good. Other questions, comments? Anybody care to so move? Go ahead, Mike.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the amendment for out-of-scope services with CH2M Hill OMI in the amount of $113,929 for combined water and wastewater capital projects FY17 and 18.
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That's approved unanimously, Mayor.
Neil, I think that's a lot of work for a good price. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to number F. Consideration of approving amendment for out-of-scope services with CH2M Hill in the amount, that's what I just read.
Next one.
F, I'm sorry. Consideration of approving the purchase of 15 SWAT ballistic vests for $38,105.25 for the fiscal year 17 Homeland Security Grant Award number 170514-01 funds. Chief, you are up.
Thank you. Now that I can speak to. I don't know about the other one, but good evening, Mayor and Council. So in November of 2017, the Council approved the acceptance of an Arizona Department of Homeland Security Grant Award in the amount of $38,105 and some change. That money was earmarked to replace 15 ballistic vests and 15 ballistic helmets for our SWAT team, as the current items are due to expire this year. The good news, there is no fiscal impact to the town. All of these items are 100% covered by the grant. Any questions? I'd be more than happy to answer.
That sounds like a good deal. Jody?
I think that's a no-brainer. I'd like to make a motion on it.
Okay.
All right. So the motion is to approve the purchase of 15 SWAT ballistic vests for $38,105.25 using the fiscal year 17 Homeland Security Grant Program Award number 170514-01 funds.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Chief, it's a no-brainer. Put it to work.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, and that's one more. G, consideration of approving agreement VOCA-2018 PD number 00089 with the Department of Public Safety to accept a grant award, of which the VOCA program will provide 80% of the funding in the amount of $335,086 with the town providing 20% of non-federal match of $83,772 from the 6420 criminal investigation line item. Now I'll find out if this is a no-brainer. Any comments, Chief?
I think you'll find that it is, Mayor. So in July of 2017, the Council approved the application for a U.S. Department of Justice grant through the Arizona Department of Public Safety. The application is for VOCA, which stands for Victims of Crime Act, and it was for an assistance grant. So in December of 2017, we were awarded $335,086 to provide services to victims of crime such as domestic violence, child physical and sexual abuse, as well as a lot of previously underserved victims of crimes such as drunk driving crashes, elder abuse, homicide victim survivors, assault, stalking, identity theft, and many more. The fiscal impact of the town is $83,772, which represents the required 20% match. But these funds will provide 2 full-time community service officers whose sole purpose is to make sure that victims of crime are aware of and get the benefits that they deserve. It will pay for their salary, benefits, overtime, as well as their training costs, a vehicle, the vehicle expenses, office supplies, and much more. So I think, Mayor, I would say it's a no-brainer, but
No-brainer.
that's me.
Somehow or another, council likes these big grants. Any comments?
Yeah, I think we're always happy. I'm very pleased when we're able to pursue grants, and obviously there is a price to pay for some of those, and I think this is well worth it. I think one of the pillars of the police department is the fact that we are very, focused on domestic violence, and this just helps us with those additional tools that we need to make sure that we are able to enforce and to help those victims of domestic violence. So I very much support that.
Yeah, we have the full-time victims advocate in domestic violence. We have another full-time victims advocate in taking up other crimes and making sure that victims of other crimes have the assistance and the resources that they need. And he is only able to complete about 50% of the victims that we encounter in the town. So this is going to allow us to hire another one plus retain him so that we can try to get all of the victims.
Good. Any other comments, questions?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, I think we're ready.
Motion to approve agreement number VOCA 2018 PVPD-00089 with the Department of Public Safety to accept the grant award of which the VOCA program will provide 80% of the funding in the amount of $335,086, with the town providing a required 20% non-federal match of $83,772 from the 6420 criminal investigation line item by electronic vote.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That passes unanimously, Mayor.
Chief,
Thank you,
that was
Mayor,
another
Council.
good one. Thank you much. Okay, comments from the public. Maybe Rick wants to read that.
Sure. I'd be glad to. Consideration and discussion of general unscheduled comments from the public. Those wishing to address the council need not request permission in advance. Any such remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any member thereof. Such remarks shall be limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the mayor. At the conclusion of the unscheduled comments, individual members of the council may respond to the item addressed at the discretion of the mayor, or they may ask the town manager to review the matter or ask that the matter be placed on a future agenda.
Anyone care to make any comments? Steve, no comment tonight? Okay. If there's no further comments, then we'll move on to number 12, motion to convene into executive session in order to conduct the annual review and evaluation of the performance of town manager Larry Tarkowski. The executive session is scheduled pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute Section 431.03A1, which allows for discussion or consideration of employment, assignment, or appointment of a public officer, appointee, or employee. Anyone care to make a motion to convene?
I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Okay, second, anyone?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Would you set the vote, Diane?
That motion is unanimously, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. We'll recess for a few minutes, then we'll reconvene. Thank you all for coming.